Hi Yogi friends! This week we put together a little sequence based off poses from week 3 of the Flexi Straps March Yoga Challenge. And in the sequence we work on stretching and warming the lower and upper back, shoulders, and hips. We begin in supported bridge pose. So you can start by lying on your back in the middle of the mat, knees bent and feet flat, parallel to one another. Feet should be about hips distance apart and fingers should come close to the heels. You're going to lift your hips up enough to place a block comfortably under your sacrum. And then rest in supported bridge with your arms by your sides for as long as you would like. Coming here to find the breath and settling in to your practice. From here, press down into your feet, lift your hips a little higher, arching your back, and remove the block. Then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Tee your arms out to either side. Shift your hips to the left, then lower both knees to the right, allowing the lower and upper back to twist, lifting off the mat. Then you can turn your gaze to the left if it's comfortable, or keep your gaze towards the sky. Roll back to center, pausing after a few breaths. Then shift your hips to the right and lower your knees to the left, stacking the hips, stacking the knees, and allowing the twist on this side. If it's comfortable for your neck, you can turn your gaze to the right. After a few breaths, roll back to center, hug your knees to your chest, and begin to rock head to tail until you can roll up into a Navasana or boat position. We start here with the knees bent, hands behind the knees, making sure your back is super straight. Then you can grab your strap, flex your feet, place the strap underneath the balls of the feet, and then straighten your legs, holding onto the strap and pulling the shoulders back. After a few breaths, you can release the strap and see if you can come into your boat pose. And then slowly begin to lower all the way down to the mat. Bend your knees to place the feet on the mat. Pick your right foot up and place the right ankle on top of the left knee. Press your right knee down to stretch your hip in a figure 4 position. You can then interlace your fingers on your left shin and hug your leg in towards the body to deepen the stretch. After taking several breaths here, we're going to begin to release this pose to roll up and through to a downward facing dog. Inhale to lift your right leg. Exhale to bend your right knee and twist your spine to open the hip, stacking the right hip on top of the left. Inhale here. Then exhale to step the right leg between your hands. Drop your left knee to the mat. Take a hold of your strap and bring your torso upright. Lift your left foot up off the mat and turn your torso to the left to wrap the strap around the top of your left foot. Keep a hold of the strap and square your shoulders back to the front of the mat. Let your back arch and relax your head back, feeling the deep stretch in your hip flexors, quadriceps, and without straining the lower back. After a few breaths here, you can carefully bring your torso upright. Turn towards the left slowly to lower your foot down to the mat. Then tucking your left toes under, lift the knee off the mat, frame your right foot with your hands, and step back into a plank position on an inhale. Exhaling, pulling the chest forward, lowering all the way down. Inhale, rise up to cobra. Exhale, lower down. Release your hands by your sides. Interlace your fingers at your lower back, pulling your shoulders back. Inhale to rise into locust, lifting the chest, lifting the head, the shoulders, feet, thighs, knees off the mat. Pressing down into your pelvis. Breathing. Then exhale to release down. Bend both knees towards your glutes. Rest your forehead on the mat. Then grab both ankles from the inside. Use the strength of your legs to pull your torso up off the mat. Then lift your knees and thighs and chest. Breathing here. Then slowly lower your legs to the mat. Slowly release your ankles. Press back, finding a slight inner rotation of the thighs as we sit on our shins for hero's pose. Once you're comfortable in hero's pose, you can slowly begin to lower your forearms to the ground, arching the back while stretching the quads. After taking a few breaths in that position, you can rise back up through the hands and knees, coming into a nice downward dog. Taking any movements, maybe pedaling out the feet here, and focusing on your breath, taking deep inhales through the nose and full exhales back out through the nose. Begin to walk your hands back towards your feet and find a forward fold. And slowly stacking one vertebra on top of the other, rise up to stand. Bend your right leg towards your right glute, catching a hold of the ankle from the inside. Then you're going to wrap the strap around the back of your foot, holding the strap with both hands, reaching over your head, and then kicking your right leg back. And as you kick that right leg back, you can find the balance to pull your torso forward, finding the back bend in dancer's pose. Slowly begin to release the back foot down, removing the strap. And then on an inhale, we'll reach our hands up and above our head. And exhale to fold forward, hinging at the hips. Inhale, lifting halfway. And then exhale, bending the knees, placing your hands on the mat, stepping back into your downward facing dog. After a few breaths in your downward facing dog, we're going to inhale the right leg up, and then preparing for pigeon, slide your right knee forward so the femur and the ankle are in front of the hip socket. Align the right heel towards the left hip without letting the knee slide to the side. Then inhale, draw the torso upright, activate the pelvic floor to take pressure off the lower back, and take some breaths here to settle into your half pigeon. We can slowly turn our torso towards the left, lifting the left foot up and hooking the strap around the top of the foot. Then you can take a hold of the strap with both hands and begin to crawl your hands towards the feet. Slowly begin to release the back bend, and then lower your left leg back down to the mat. When you're ready, we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog. Releasing the pose, and then bringing the leg up for a moment, maybe even raising the leg, stacking the hip. Inhale to lift your left leg. Exhale to bend your left knee and twist your spine open, stacking the left hip on top of the right. Inhale here and exhale to step the left leg between your hands. Drop that right knee to the mat and press your hands onto the left knee to lift your torso upright. Then lift your right foot up off the mat, reaching both arms over your head, and take a foot hold of your foot. Carefully release the pose, release the right foot down to the mat, tuck the right toes under, and lift your right knee up off the mat. Frame your left foot with your hands and step back to plank. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale, pull the chest forward, rising to cobra. Then exhale, lifting the hips, lifting the pelvis, downward facing dog. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. And begin to walk the hands back towards the feet, finding your forward fold here, letting the head and the torso hang heavy. And stacking one vertebra on top of the other, roll up slowly, making your way to Tadasana. Bend your left leg towards your left glute, catching a hold of your ankle from the inside with your left hand. Then kick back into your leg, finding the grounding and stability to tip your torso forward, finding that dancer's pose. Try to focus your gaze before releasing the pose. Inhaling, reaching the hands up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees, place your hands on the mat, stepping back to a downward facing dog. From here, we'll prepare for pigeon on the other side. So you're going to inhale the left leg up, sliding the knee forward so the femur and the ankle are in front of the hip socket. Align the left heel over towards the right hip without letting the knee slide to the side. You want to check in with the back leg. Make sure you're on top of the knee and thigh, and your foot is not sliding off to one side. Inhale the torso, drawing it upwards, activating the pelvic floor, taking the pressure off the lower back. And then after a few breaths, you can slowly turn your torso to the right, lifting your right foot up off the mat. Hook your foot in the crook of your right elbow. Lift your left arm over your head, and you can try to reach for that bind here. It's really important before you bind to really find the stability and the proper alignment in your legs. And then slowly releasing the bind and lowering your right leg back to the mat. Making your way to a downward facing dog for a few breaths before lowering the knees down and ending this sequence in a wide leg child's pose. Thank you so much for joining us again for our exploration of this week's yoga challenge. We hope to be a part of your journey just as much as you are a part of ours. Namaste.